Yeah.
But some gurus are being sued for scamming people.
Oh, really?
Like there was a guru who was selling digital products. He was selling this idea that he's going to partner with you. So you are going to invest, let's say, $100,000. Like most of the clients that he took in did not see that kind of return, and he was just keeping the money that they invest in.
Oh, he would keep the
yeah,
money?
he would keep
Oh.
the money. You know, and I don't know what happened, but people ended up suing him, and he was pleaded guilty. So he had to pay back like I think like $20 million or something like that in compensation, and he's not on YouTube anymore.
Oh, really?
No, like yeah, be careful about those people on the internet. Like we're not trying to sell you anything on this podcast, so please don't sue us. Welcome back to our show, No Sheets Given, where William and I will talk about the hospitality industry 100% unfiltered. We'll go to anything from the hottest topics and the funniest stories around the industry, and we're going to give it to you straight. We're going to give you our takes, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you might have noticed we're in a different space. I know we're playing like musical chairs with our recording locations, but I promise this is going to be one of probably our main two destinations. We're in our office now.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost done. It looks a little different. Behind here, there's a surprise, but right now it's a whiteboard.
It's unfinished. It's work in progress, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, we spent a lot of time designing this space, bringing up some greeneries, making this space look pretty cool for you visually. And it's a good space for us to work in, right? We don't want to be just looking at plain white walls all day, every day, 24/7. So we brought some colors into this office and we made it into our little studio, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Theme colors, green, Mm-hmm. We always strive to be more and more green, even in the office, as you can see our chairs.
So this week, we're bringing something different. We'll be talking about actually starting a business. So we'll be deviate from, the hospitality industry for a little bit, but not really because our business is still in the industry. But today, I just want to dedicate this episode to the doers out there. This one's for you. We'll be talking about just the common myths and sharing some of our personal experience with this type of thing. So I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited. Yeah, this is something that's close to our hearts.
Yeah,
I've actually told a lot of people, even if you're not in this industry, you're going to relate to this.
Yeah, there's probably thousands of, podcasts regarding this topic. But, ours going to be different because we are actually going to go on Reddit, the most reliable source of information on the internet, and we'll see what some of these internet warriors have to say about starting a business. Mm-hmm. Some of the experiences that they had, and then we're gonna give our takes on it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this week's punchline is hustle harder and hustle louder.
Hustle harder and then hustle louder?
Yes.
Okay.
So you'll see what I mean by that. The first one that we're gonna read to you was posted a while ago, about 9 months ago. It's titled, Really Tired of This Persistent Startup Myth. So it goes, this week I came across yet another recommended for you LinkedIn post with thousands of thumbs up from an influencer with massive following sharing entrepreneurial advice, including the point, quote, and always remember startups don't fail because they run out of money, quote. So it sounds like another internet guru.
Yeah.
Virtually all research on startup failures points to cash flow issues as one of the top 2 reasons why businesses fail. This is not a matter of opinion, it's well-documented data. Just Google reports called Main Reasons for Business Failures among startups worldwide, and every year they look the same. Running out of cash and the lack of market need are the 2 top reasons. And they account for approximately 70 to 80% of failures. These findings remain consistent year after year. But yeah, cash flow is not a problem. It's just being ironic. It's your mindset. It's high time we stop recycling this motivational nonsense and start calling out influencers who spread it. In this article, in this thread, is basically saying that these gurus on the internet are basically trying to be motivational. They're saying that, you can build a business with just pure grit. It's all about mindset. It has nothing to do with cash flow. It's what this person is saying.
Yeah.
So to break it down, what is cash flow? Will?
Well, I would say is there's two type of cash flow. There's money coming in, of course, and how you also are moving your money around. I
Yeah.
would say, I know how you feel about internet gurus already. Like coming into this conversation, like I'm not sure, like kind of listening to it, I could definitely feel. I think for a lot of people, if you've started a business, I think once you hear someone talk about starting a business, you can hear the pain in the text, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I could tell you, probably not listening to a single, like not knowing anything that person's done, they've probably poured sweat and blood into whatever business he wants to do. And I think that's where like a lot of the pain and resentment to some gurus can come from,
Yeah, exactly. And going back to cash flow, it's like Will said, it's not only about money coming in, it's also about where you're putting money towards, right, in your business. And it's also about, well, how much cash are you reserving for?
That's true.
For your business. That kind of makes the whole thing run. In this thing, like the person was really isolating cash flow as it's like the most important part of the business. But I don't think that's the end all be all.
That's true.
Yes, cash flow is important, but there's many other factors that affect what makes a business successful, right? So, in my opinion, the first thing to come up is, what is your business model? Is like what type of problem are you solving, or who are you solving it for, and how much are those people willing to pay for it? Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say that that's a very valid take. I think just understanding your business model first and foremost. I would honestly put that at the top because, I think we've seen probably people who have maybe not the greatest of execution, but the business model is so good that it's gonna like carry you through a lot of stuff. So I do agree with what you're saying here.
Yeah, and when the idea is good, right? Like we've seen many of these ideas that like they started with zero investment, zero money, but it's just because the market crave for that type of solutions. People will give you money, like investors will give you money without even knowing your whole plan. They just love the idea and they say, I'll fund you, go do it, right? Another thing I want to point out is that, like I said, like how much are these people willing to pay for it, right? Then you can start to kind of estimate, well, how much you're going to make and how much is it to produce. And then there, when you got those figured out, then you started calculating, well, how much cash flow are you bringing in and how much money are you going to spend and things like that. So,
and I would say, like, even to add to the point here is that knowing about how much money they are going to pay, which I imagine you're going to get to, definitely like kind of ties in with what type of market and who you're dealing with. They talk about blue oceans, red oceans. I imagine you might get into it. If you're in a market with a red ocean where it just means there's a lot of competitors and a lot of people are just competing with you, it's basically like if you're just on price, it's basically the fastest race to who can get to zero, essentially, right? So it's like if your business plan doesn't have any differentiation or isn't being positioned, or you're not in an area where you can kind of be in your own market, I feel like it definitely makes it a lot tougher to be able to charge people what it's actually worth, right, for the service.
And that's what a lot of internet gurus don't tell you is, how to actually make a business that's valuable, right? Like there are a lot of gurus online that will try to sell you a course. Of course, like we've been through. We've met so many people that are trying to sell you the dream, right? It's like, oh, you can do this one thing, read this article is the key to success. It's like selling your pipe dreams. These are the things they don't tell you. It's like what exactly goes into making a business successful, Yeah,
and I'll say, like, honestly, for gurus, one of my biggest gripes right off the top, is like they make it seem like if you follow these 5 next steps, you're gonna be rich.
Yeah,
right.
Which never happens. It's like 100,000 steps.
It's like literally for that to happen, it's like we're maybe on the 4th floor. If you put a basketball net all the way across the street and you shot it like Steph Curry one arm, I feel like that's the type of level of luck, probably even more luck you would require to just get rich off your first shot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like a lot more work.
And the thing I want to tell people is that if you're learning from a guru, or if you're trying to invest into a course with a guru, think about the business that they are trying to invite you into, right? Are they in the business of making you money, or are they in the business of selling course,
Correct.
for their own benefit, right? Because I know a lot of people on the internet say, I built an online business doing X, Y, Z. You should follow me. I'm giving you this valuable, guidebook from step A to Z for, $1,000, right? Who's to say that they actually never done those things in his book, and he's just trying to get the $1,000, $2,000 from you?
I would actually push it further. I would push it further. I personally think if somebody is selling a guide, I think we are the customers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, is there a guru out there is trying to show you something that might be beneficial and it might still grow your knowledge? I'm not saying everything's a waste. It might be beneficial, might grow your knowledge, but I will say without a doubt that we are the customer. I think you would have a better chance of getting knowledge that for something that is not going to put you in a very competitive sphere where you're going to have a hard time by just watching someone's story and kind of being able to pick off ideas of talking to somebody versus watching a guru who sells mass courses. Because basically, going back to the red ocean, if a guru is very popular and it is something that can make money, they're literally making it a red ocean. And if they're making it very competitive
for themselves,
then literally it would further validate that we are the customer.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to the point, right, to this article, is cash flow important to a business? Yes. But is it the only thing that matters? No. Right? So, this person making this thread is obviously very angry at those influencers who just try to simplify things, trying to get you to buy things, trying to make it easier than it seems, which obviously it's not. They're also the person who wrote this post is also making a lot of assumptions too.
That's true.
So it's very out of context. It's a Reddit post, so it's a platform where people go and complain and rant and stuff. So I wouldn't take this at the service level. Cash flow is important, but it's not the end all be all.
If I was to ask you, question, you have to rank it. Top 5 things, from most important to least important, or maybe top 3 if it's easy.
Yeah, and then where cash flow will fit.
Cash flow. You can put cash flow.
I would say number 1 is the solution.
Yeah.
So what is your business model, right? You could have tens and thousands of millions of dollars, but if your idea sucks, it's just not going to convert. You can blow all your money. And if the idea is just a replica of some that's existing in the market, let's say you're selling strollers, baby strollers. People get that from Amazon for I don't know how much, and you're just another stroller maker or a stroller reseller. That's that you resell. There's nothing special about it. You're gonna run out of money no matter what. Secondly, I would say is what is your distribution look like?
Yeah.
Where you're gonna distribute this product, how you're gonna sell it, what are your demographics, right? How are you getting to these people? Then thirdly, I would say it's marketing.
Yep.
How much are you investing in marketing, which we'll get to in a later thread about that too, is that how much effort are you spending into marketing to get to the people who are your ideal buyers who are willing to spend the money to purchase that. Yeah, those would be my top 3.
Your top 3?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a little controversial. Mine, I would actually say before idea, I'll put the people, because I think the people who run the business, if you have the good people, you can change and you'll be able to identify. So I'll put people, I put the idea, basically the solution. I would say the solution itself, how good is the solution. And I would say one misconception when people come to the solution is that the solution needs to be innovative. I don't think the solution always requires innovation. Actually, I would say that sometimes the solution just requires discovery of something that has been going on for a long time, but maybe not a lot of people know about. So it's most likely, if it's there and someone's been there for a long time, but there's not a lot of other people doing it, it's probably something to be looked at, right? So I say the solution doesn't require innovation, but definitely requires to be somewhere where you can, be an actual market player. You don't have a bunch of people that are really going to be devaluing you. And then after that, I would say probably marketing nowadays. I would say probably is one of the biggest things. It could be either in person, It could be virtual, social,
Yeah.
Even us, right?
Yeah,
Podcast,
yeah.
you name it. The marketing. Then I would probably put like cash flow and and such like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, if all those things above it suck, you can throw however much money you want at it. It's not gonna work for you.
Yeah. But not to say that, cash flow is not important. I want to get back to kind of dissecting more about why this person think cash flow is going to make or break a business. It's because like it's how much money you bring in, right? Let's say you get $100 in, life is good, you sold a product, but it's also equally important how you distribute that $100,
That's true.
right? Like how much margin are you allocating to your operations, right? How much is your cost of goods sold? Are you reserving your cash for, let's say if you're selling a product in this scenario, how much cash are you reserving for the replenishment? Right, you're not just going to sell this one time. You're going to sell this 2, 3, hundreds, thousands of times. Right, that's where you make money. So, like, how knowing your cost of goods sold and allocating your resources, in this case, money, is just as important as bringing in money. Because, like he said in the thread, a lot of businesses, 70 to 80% of businesses run out of money and fail. Right, so but like, how are they running out of money? They were obviously making money at some point, but they were overspending into areas that they deemed necessary, but it's actually not really critical for the business. So they were in this sense just wasting money, but not really sustaining the growth.
The growth in particular.
Yeah.
And there's like even more things that people don't think about, right? Like, let's say you have a product and like Bing said, you make $100 and you sell it the same day. And life is good, but it takes you 6 months to get the product. That 6 months is a long time. So if you don't have the cash flow to have enough to cover you for the 6 months, you're gonna have maybe clients who are not satisfied. Start looking for other solutions. Basically, they're gonna go to a competitor. Like basically, you might be selling well, but you might not have the product. You might be selling poorly, but you are able to get the product cheaply. There's like a lot of factors that need to balance out, I would say, for it to like
exactly
run, like well, and for you to actually be able, how fast are you able to turn over the stuff that you're selling a product, or if it's like, let's say it's a digital product, so you don't have anything physical, how well is your implementation, how well are you going to be able to retain clients, you're going to have people who are going to drop off month to month. So it's like, sometimes I feel like for me when I see posts like this and even gurus, right, it is a lot of it just selling the dream. Because like I know without a doubt, right, if you look around the room right now, right, I look around, I see the laptop, the computer, I see the stands, I see the chairs, like you will not believe the amount of work that somebody had to put for that to be in front of you today, right? And it's like, sometimes I don't think people think about it. It's generational, like amount of work. It's like someone's great grandfather had to do it, and they have to keep on going and going. And it's like then it gets to it. So I feel like when a guru just makes it sound like we're just gonna get this done over the weekend.
Well, the gurus they mostly sell digital products, right?
Yeah.
You don't need shelves, you don't need inventory. It's just stored somewhere on a hard drive on their laptop maybe, and then just say, hey, watch these videos, you'll be a millionaire by next year. Selling pipe dream, and people buy it, unfortunately.
Well, it works for some people. I can't lie. Some people do become gurus and it works out for them.
Yeah.
But I just know, like, it must be like, I bet you the percentages. Like, I wish someone did a study on like the effectiveness of gurus. Yeah.
But some gurus are being sued for scamming people.
Oh, really?
Like I told you a while ago, there was a guru who was selling digital products on. I'm not gonna really point out his name. I know who he is, but he basically sells courses to teach you how to sell stuff online on the world's major platform. I think you know what this is.
Someone got sued for that?
Yeah, but the thing is, he was selling this idea that he's going to partner with you. So you are going to invest, let's say $100,000 in the inventory, and then he will manage it for you, and he guarantees you, I don't know, like a return. I don't know what the percentage is, but like most of the clients that he took in did not see that kind of return. At least in the time that he promised, and he was just keeping the money that they invest in.
Oh, he would keep the
yeah,
money.
he would keep the money. So he it's not like you go pay for the inventory like right away, like on your own, but he takes your money and then he said he's gonna do.
So basically, like
this.
did it for you type thing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's like a done for you. So he kept your money. You know, and I don't know what happened, but people ended up suing him, and he was pleaded guilty, so he had to pay back like I think like $20 million or something like that in compensation, and he's not on YouTube anymore.
Oh really?
No, like he's down. He's gone.
You know, I'm gonna have faith that maybe he didn't go on there to start thinking he was gonna sue people. I mean, scam people.
Yeah,
Maybe he was like, I'm gonna help, but then like. Imagine multiple like that, like like thousands or maybe hundreds of like 100K inventories. Like,
no, it'll be more. Yeah, he definitely managed like more than I think over a few $1 million. Yeah, he probably took the money and put it into an investment portfolio somewhere.
So he took the interest over the time period, and he's like,
exactly.
The money back.
Exactly. He didn't even give the money back. But anyways, yeah, be careful about those people on the internet. Like we're not trying to sell you anything on this podcast, so please don't sue us. So actually, this segue into our next topic, which is about marketing, right? It's like we're talking about gurus, how they market their products and stuff. So let's talk about marketing. So the next topic, it's titled "Good Product Doesn't Mean Automatic Traction." The article, so the question is, what's a business myth you used to believe until you actually started one? So the person goes, I used to believe the classic myth that if you build something great, customers will just come. Like somehow good product equals automatic traction. Reality check is you have to have an amazing product, but if no one knows about it, it doesn't matter. Marketing is not optional. It's half the game, which is very true.
Yep.
We'll dissect that in a little bit. That realization completely shifted how I approach product development, customer discovery, and distribution. Curious on what other myths people had to unlearn once they were in the trenches. So before I go into the comment, let's talk about that some more, right?
Yeah.
So it's saying that marketing goes as far as your product goes, and also vice versa. Your product will go as far as your marketing goes, right? One analogy that come to mind is if no one ever discovered LeBron James, he would just be another high schooler who was good at basketball, right? And it would stop there, right? Yeah. But people picked him, discovered him, dumped hundreds of millions of dollars into marketing him, and now he's the LeBron James that we all know today.
You know, though I agree, I always think in business you do have to put a caveat on everything, because I do believe that if something is so amazing and revolutionary, even if your marketing is not that crazy, it will definitely assist in your process. Like, you know, where people will hear it and maybe gravitate to it, but it's just so rare.
Yeah, it's
something like that happens.
It's really rare. Like you might boom in the local market, for example. Like if someone sells like revolutionary coffee here in Calgary, that's gonna like let's say that you take one shot and you're not gonna sleep for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, right? But he spends $0 in marketing. It might boom.
Like over time, you know, people like tell like your friends like, hey, you know about that coffee stuff.
But you know, it's the scalability, right? It's like, okay, well, you dominate the Calgary market, but how are you gonna take it from coast to coast, right? With no marketing.
Well, even to take it to your point of the LeBron, right? Look at Damian Lillard. If you look at it, right? He went to like Weber or some like low college, but then he got drafted high after university because, actually, no, I think he got drafted low. I forgot, but he became a superstar in the NBA, right? But initially, he basically was like unscouted going into college. Yeah. So it's like, I think that's like probably an excellent example where you could see someone like, you know, if you are the LeBron James of products, you know, maybe someone will come out let me help you. But, you know, that means you have to be probably the best thing ever.
But that's like 1 in a million.
Yeah, like
maybe even more rare.
Even more rare.
Yeah. So, you know, it's also actually relating to a lot of brands that we buy as well, right? If you think about marketing a product, just the sheer volume and amount of marketing efforts that people put into marketing their, brand or products that we use. Think about Amazon, right? When Amazon first came out, they were selling books, I think, right? And nobody knew about it. And he dumped so much money into marketing. You see Amazon everywhere now. They even have their own trucks, and even on their own trucks, they put they put their own advertisements. So that's a form of marketing. So they have to do all that. And besides Amazon, if you think about local clothing brand, right, or the clothing brand that you see online, let's say like something like Gymshark, or like my wife likes to buy things from like Halara,
or something like
let's say like those brands, right? She would have to see advertisement from them time after time, multiple times a day, for a few days a week, for months, before she even makes a purchase.
Yeah.
So that's marketing effort spent to get just one purchase from a stranger.
Well, also to add, I feel like, with this all being said as well, we have to also, I think, take into account what year we're in. 2025.
Yeah.
I do believe the landscape of marketing, I think we're still learning. Every time I look at something, some people's marketing efforts, you can always tell when someone's putting in effort, and it's like, I'm still learning. There's people who are very knowledgeable about this, but I feel like when people are knowledgeable, this kind of stuff they keep to themselves, so it does require a lot of research. But, being in 2025, I would say, it's so much more true, because we're in a situation where we are getting bombarded
by ads.
Like,
now, even when you don't know it,
you don't even realize it. We're getting bombarded. It's like, you think about it. It's funny because I'm not that I'm anti ads, but for myself, I'm very aware that I'm getting hit with ads. So like, whenever apps ask you like, oh, can I track you?
Me too. I'm like, yo, don't show me.
Don't get too good.
Yeah.
I don't want it to know me too well. I know they know you. Like, I think Facebook literally builds a profile based off of what you like and stuff, and you can actually go find it. Like, this is YouTube videos if you ever want to look it up. But, I literally try not to, because I know that if I just let them do it, the ads are gonna be too good.
And the turnaround time for the ads to show, it's like crazy nowadays, right? You go to a store, I think they geolock you. So if you go to the store like Canadian Tire, right? By the time I get out of the parking lot and I go on my phone, I already see an ad. Like on my Facebook or Instagram, and then it'll be days before you see them like slow down. It'll just hammer you. So that just goes to show how much marketing effort people are putting into their products.
To add one more other interesting point, this is a very interesting one, that Facebook or Meta ads would actually be able to determine that some people were pregnant before they even knew.
But how do they do that?
Because they were basing it off like people's cravings and what they were eating.
Oh, and, no way!
And would be able to determine there's like a deviation, and then they would start sending people ads for like baby strollers. So can you imagine that they know, they were so dialed with the data? This is how much data they're so dialed. They are basically knowing what you need before you even know.
Yeah, but there's such a huge margin of error with that.
But that's what we think, right? But I think how many billions of people have Facebook on the planet?
I guess. So if they just capture...
That's probably put down to like, they're going to be like, well, we're going to maybe hit such a small subset that most of the time we're going to be right.
Yeah.
And that's how they operate.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, like the people who, I guess, were not getting pregnant or were not... like relevant to the issue, they would just not click.
Correct.
Right. So the people who do click, like, do show some sort of indication that the ads are relevant to them. So I guess you're right. Yeah. So they do hit the right demographics.
It is crazy when you think about it.
So at the end of this thread, it asked, "What did you believe before starting that turned out to be totally wrong? Myths about business, starting a business." Let's dive into the first comment that we have here. The false belief I had is that you can hire people and let them do their thing. I know this is going to trigger you a lot. Employees needs to be trained, motivated, incentivized, form a cultural fit within your company, and then still hiring is a huge gamble. It's saying that a false belief that this guy had in the comment is that they can just hire anybody to do a job that he tells them to, and then they'll just perform like robots. And it will get 100% of the task done, which I know whoever's watching this, you know that I know that you know It's not possible.
That's not possible.
So, well, why don't you share some of your stories?
Oh,
I know you're dying to speak.
I'm not even dying to speak, man. I'm not dying to speak. I don't know. I feel like, this is one of the lessons I think I've been taught so many times. So, I've learned watching my dad. I've learned working at a previous job. I've learned in business. Basically the people can make or break whatever situation, operation that you're doing, you're hiring, and you can't just essentially leave it up to the person, because, there's some people out there who will get, and I've come across people like this who are people who are very exceptional, and they're rock stars at their role, but those are so rare.
Yeah, hold on a second though.
So rare.
Before you go into describing the perfect employee, why don't you talk about why can't you just hire people to just perform? What are people doing wrong in their perception or assumptions that make them think that they can just hire somebody and they'll get the job done?
Well, I think we sometimes take what people say for one for one. Hey, I had experience with marketing, or hey, I had experience with doing this job. So I think we as business owners, or if you're a leader at your role, you see somebody and you assume that is common sense. But common sense for you is not common sense for somebody else. So it's kind of like understanding that you can't assume that somebody is coming into the situation with the same amount of knowledge that you have. And also on top of it, to be fair, you need to be able to give the person the expectation of what you want them to perform. They know if they're below expectations, above expectations, right? Because if you don't lay it out, basically they're gonna make it for themselves, and it's up. Then we're just gonna be left with thinking. Now we're kind of put our expectations on what their assumed expectations, and I think that's when most disconnect happens, right? When someone's like, "Oh, I don't know, I was doing something wrong."
You would not believe how many times we've heard people say, "Well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that."
Oh,
I didn't know I was supposed to check off this box when I'm done. It's things like that you think, well, as a normal human being, wouldn't you just do that? Let's say turning off the lights after you use the bathroom. Common sense, right? But in a lot of households, that's actually not common sense. Why do you think people argue about electricity bills? Because they point to the other person and say, "Oh, you don't turn off the lights after you're using the bathroom," because it's not common sense to them.
No, I would say there's been I've seen so much. I'm just trying to even think back, workplaces where something would be unsafe, and I would tell someone, "Why don't you just put it back?" That's common sense to me. If I use something, I'm not going to leave it in the middle where someone can trip or get hurt. I'm going to put it back. Stuff like that. But I think for some people, like I said, not everybody. Some people I think are really on the up and up, and you do get people who are very forward thinking, and those are the people that you want to retain and keep. But for every person who you find that is very competent in their work and just knows what they're doing, there's 100 people who don't. That's
just an unfortunate truth. So be careful who you hire. You cannot assume that other people just know the same thing you do, and this happens a lot, especially in places where the trainer have performed the same job over many years, right? So to them, a lot of these things become muscle memories. A lot of these things become second nature. So when you hire someone, the trainer, you have to, as a trainer, if you're training somebody new, you have to kind of reconfigure your brain into thinking that things that you do are completely new to them, and that you need to start from scratch. They're brand new, right? You know how to do something A to Z, that they don't even know what A is.
That's true.
Right? So you have to be able to, if you want them to perform at the same level as you have to tell them everything. You have to tell them exactly what time you should do what, done to what aspect, and what you should do after. Things like that.
Well, to even give you an actual real life story for myself, to be, because I want to be fair, I can put myself on the other side. I think I remember when I started my job at Gap. And I remember it was like my first like retail job when I was a kid. And I remember I've never had a customer facing, like a really strong customer facing job before that. I worked before that, but I never had like a customer facing job. And I remember, you know, at Gap, they were like, okay, you gotta fold these things. You gotta make sure everything's folded. And I'm telling you, first of all, no hate to Gap. There's, I want to say, a 5x multiple on how many things you would have to fold at Gap than working at like any other clothing store. Okay, they have like small kids clothes, and there's I don't know. Oh, don't get me started.
And folding women clothes, they can be different too.
And they had kids clothes just loose on a table, and they was and you know, after a weekend, but you know, if you know, you know. But I remember working at Gap, and it was my first job, and I thought doing a good job at the time because you know my training was pretty simple, if I'm being honest. Like, you know, how much training do you really need working at a retail store, right? You know, I understand. And they were like, yeah, just make sure everything's folded, and then you talk to clients and you help them out find stuff. Okay, so keep in mind, this is my first job. You know, I'm raised in a Nigerian household, so you know, when it comes to work, I don't, you know, it's not like
you don't mess around.
Don't mess around. So I'm like folding the whole shit. I'm talking about folding hard. So when people were like shopping, I didn't want to bother them at the time because I was young, so I would just like say like hi and then like do my thing and fold and then like make sure things are clean. Then one day I kind of like actually got in trouble. Well, it wasn't like in trouble, but my supervisor at the time, she was like, "Oh, you need to like talk to people more." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like I'm saying hi.
Yeah.
But you know, in hindsight, she probably did not actually want me to talk to people. She probably wanted me to like engage people to help them make sales.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But I'm a kid. I was like 15. Like, you know, but no one explained that.
Yeah, and they didn't deliver the expectation to you, right?
Exactly.
They just told you, you know, just make sure everything's clean. So in your mindset at the time, you're like, well, I just got to make sure everything's folded and organized, right? You didn't know that you had to take on the role of sales because they didn't tell you.
No.
So
I remember sweating. Like, I don't think people understand. I remember sweating from folding, like, at this job as a kid. Like, I know not every workplace is like this.
Well, I mean,
like, that place was something else. Like, it was, I still, to this day, I'm like,
yeah, probably
one of the most physically demanding jobs I had as a kid.
No, I mean, like, my wife tells me all the time that, well, I haven't worked retail. I worked other jobs, but I never worked retail. So she always tells me to, like, once I try on something, I have to like fold and put it back to where I got it. But then I like never did. I just kind of like PTSD. Yeah, I just toss it on the side. I'm like, oh, they will take care of it. But in the back, someone like William will be sweating, folding these clothes, putting them back. I
don't think people know, like, because there are some earnest workers out there. I would remember going through the back where someone's looking for a size, and I know there's memes out there where people are like, oh yeah, they just stand in the back and then come back out. I remember when I was young, I would go back there and I would like check the whole rack.
Yeah, no, people usually probably just go back and close the door right away.
I couldn't find it. Like, and I'll be like distraught, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Man, I feel sorry for you, man. Gap had it tough.
But don't worry, my expectations diminished once I worked at like Calvin Klein.
That's a different store, though.
Well, it's more, it's more peak, so you know.
So, the second comment, I think we're just about to wrap up here, but the second comment is actually really relevant to starting your own business. I think has to be talked about because I don't think it's talked about enough. The second comment says that entrepreneurs are genius unicorns. Most of what stopped me from starting my own business was feeling that I did not know what to do or where to find the answers. But, and I bought into this lonely genius founder crap and isolated myself. But once I started asking for help, I saw how many people were just rolling with the punches and figuring it out along the way. So this is very true. Like a lot of people, if you talk to people who are thinking about starting a business, right? Let's say they worked a corporate job and then they have, some side gigs on the side, and you ask them, oh, why don't you just do your own thing? I can guarantee you more than half the time, they're going to tell you, well, I don't know what to do, right? Like never started a business before. I kind of want to just learn first, but nobody has ever started a business before they started a business.
That's true.
Right? So same thing goes to starting any hobbies. You don't know what you're doing, but you just do it and learn along the way. So I want to tell everybody who want to go down this path of owning their own business is that don't be afraid of not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because we don't even know what we're doing. I bet if you speak to some of the multimillionaires out there, they probably don't even know what they're doing. But they just kind of like what's one good thing about entrepreneurs that you have to learn how to do is solve issues, right? Problems are always going to come up. I actually spoke to an investor before, and I asked him, I'm like, well, what do you look for before investing in a company, right? And he invests like millions into new businesses. And the one thing that he told me is that, like, I don't really care about what your 5-year plan looks like. I just need to know that you can take care of problems. Who's going to be there when problems arise? Because problems are always going to come, and someone needs to solve them for the business to move forward, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like, looking to that is like, just first of all, it's almost like kind of being able to build that confidence, right? I think a lot of times, I think the biggest change for me, or even like maybe for you, is like kind of betting on yourself, but also understanding that people have already done this. And that doing the isolation and like setting yourself like to the side and not knowing exactly how to tackle challenges is probably going to be more detrimental than thinking that you are like need to like make yourself into like a basically almost like a guru level before you can be like, I can tackle this, right?
Yeah, and trust me, nobody can solve most problems in the world, right? But collectively, people can work together to solve problems, and that's what makes the world go around. And with AI nowadays, you basically pay $20 a month and you have access to the world's biggest brain. You can solve any problems for you, right? You can even clone yourself. You can clone Einstein if you want to, if there's enough data on the internet about Einstein. So in today's world, there's really, like, you don't have to be scared of not knowing anything because the information is readily available.
Yeah, I would even argue to say that today's world, for entrepreneurs, it's not about how much of a genius you are. It is about how much you utilize, like how much you utilize the people around you for knowledge, how much you utilize the tools, how much you utilize the like learning that you get, right? Some people will tell you something, and I've come to learn if you meet somebody and they are telling you or sharing you the experiences, sometimes there's a lot of learning lessons that can save you time, right?
Yeah, and like people always say, you only learn after making your mistakes, right? You learn from your mistakes and then you succeed next time. And the path to success is never going to be linear, right? You never see growth like this. You always see growth like it's kind of like a saw, right? It's like the teeth of a saw. So it's real. It's real. I know people keep talking about it, but you have to have grit and stuff.
Even like kind of the last point to this is the fact that kind of just talking on that everyone's journey looks different. There are people who sometimes I've seen they do something and the first year they take off, but then after 5 years or 2 years,
they get forgotten. They get forgotten.
They just close and they get forgotten. Versus some people, it takes them a long time, and after the long time, they find great success. So I think also in business, I think you can I'll say like you can learn from somebody else and take their experience, but you also don't know what initial connections or advice or guidance or method that they took. So you can't put yourself with a one-to-one.
Yeah.
That like, I need to be like that person by next week. You don't want to be chasing somebody or something that's technically you don't even know what they're doing, right?
Yeah. Moral of the story: why give a shit?
Why give a shit about all this?
Why give a shit about
starting a business?
About starting a business, or why give a shit about how hard is it to start a business? Why give a shit about any of these topics that we talked about?
I think for me, the reason why you should give a shit about this is because as much as people don't like, I feel like once you kind of manufacture stuff or once you've been put into your entrepreneurial life, right? I don't know about you, but you start to view everything a little differently. Where like every time I look at something, regardless of what it is, I know someone had to like make it.
Yeah, you
Right?
just appreciate it more.
So
yeah.
I appreciate the effort because for me to have it, they have to put an effort.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, especially if you buy something, you buy clothes, you go somewhere, like, you know, there's a lot of hard work and dedication that have to go into some things. And sometimes we probably use things from people who, like, crash and burn, but, like, we kind of take for granted, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, kind of what they did and stuff like that. And also, for us, you know, it's like we have examples all around us of people who made it, right? People who were able to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Like look in your house, like the brands that you're using, the clothes that you're wearing, someone had to go out there and figure it out, right? Just like if you're trying to start a business, they were at the same spot as you are right now, but look at them now, right?
That's true.
For me, why you should give a shit is that if you are serious about starting your own business, right, rolling up the sleeves, building a legacy for yourselves and for generations to come, you have to have more than just grit. You know, everything that we talked about, cash flow, marketing, having a good idea, you know, problem solving, training people properly. These are all things that make a business work, you know, so it takes more than just grunt, you know, like pure grit. You need to be smart, have a plan, stick to the plan as much as you can, and figure it out along the way. You have to have bravery as well. So that's why you should give a shit. So I think that wraps up our episode. It was a really fun episode. I hope you had just as much fun as William and I had making this for you. Like I said before, on this podcast, no sheets given. We'll give you the hottest take on the hospitality industry and business in general, 100% unfiltered.
Yeah. So yeah, please follow us. Come along with us. I think next week we're gonna go to Saskatoon.
Yeah, Saskatoon for a hospitality conference. So very excited about that.
Yeah. So we'll put some clips. Hopefully take some clips while we're there. So we'll share some about our trip, and please follow along with us on LinkedIn or below, and then you can kind of hear what that for next time.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Right,
See you next time.
See you.